Hey AJ, this is Scott. I just thought it'd be easier to answer your question with the video rather than type it all out because I don't know. I just thought that there's too many things to talk about. Um, all right, so just bear with me because I am going to get your question first of all. Hold on. Mm-mm-mm. All right. Howdy Scott, been lurking mostly. If you don't mind, would you please walk through your SPY traits today and how you identified the larger time frame support and resistance? Also, keen to know where you placed your stops to get 1 to 3 or 3 to 1 or and also the reasoning behind why they were placed where they were. Thanks in advance. Okay. All right. So how I identify support and resistance, I'll do that, and then we'll get into 3 to 1. Also, when it comes to 3 to 1, I just want you to know that just because I got 3 to 1 doesn't mean I made 3R because I wasn't implying that I went full size on all these trades. I did go full size once, and the other ones might effectively been full size, but I'm using tight risk and fractional R as I often do. Um, so just so you can get 3 to 1 if you risk a quarter R and you made three quarters of an R. You know what I mean? Or you risk half an R and you get 3 to 1. You made 1.5 R. Just so you know. Okay, so let's see. All right. First of all, when I started the morning, I think this is important. Let's see. Spy. Yeah. Okay. So when I started the morning, um, I think this is important. I go through the day and I kind of gauge volatility, the volatility that we might have. And since we didn't have anything on the economic calendar and there weren't any earnings releases really, um, and it's Friday because Mondays and Fridays tend to be slower, I am more apt to look for a range bound day. So that's important because it's more of a back and forth potential trading environment. So I'm more apt to sell into resistance and flip long into support. If the chart supports it. So just FYI. So there's that, and then as I come into the day and I'm looking at the SPY, I usually am walking down my charts from the higher time frame to the lower time frame, and this is as of 9/18, which was Thursday. So it doesn't have any info about Friday yet, but generally speaking, the first thing that pops out to me is that we are still in an uptrend, but we're in an uptrend where I'm expecting, more likely a range bound day. Um, so I have a long bias, but when I just look at the daily, I'm thinking, okay, I'm long biased, we're support, and this is the first obvious level of support here at 561.80. We'll call it 662 rather. We'll call it 662. Extend that to the right. And then the next level down would be this low or even um, Tuesday's close and then Wednesday's open, which is right near Thursday's low. So if we're going to be range bound, then these are the two obvious levels. Um, if we're if we were expecting more volatility, then maybe I would consider, some trade down here. So then I start zooming down, and this is what it looks like in the 4 hour. And the first thing I notice on the 4 hour is like, we have this potential downtrend line here, and there's a potential uptrend line there. This also kind of supports that notion that we're headed into, more of a range bound environment. And then that was a 6 hour. We're on the 4 hour, and nothing really different. And then we get to the 1 hour. And by the way, uh, in the pre-market, I'm usually focused on the daily, the 6 hour, and the 1 hour most of the time, and that's where I get my major levels, and that's what I base my initial risk on. Um, and then maybe the 15 minute if the chart warrants that, but it probably doesn't make any difference here. So then what I do is, let's see. By the way, this downtrend line, since we were pushing up around 9 o'clock, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just readjust the line like that because it's close enough. But something like that, whether you keep this one or that one, it doesn't matter. And then this one too, I'll readjust it. Yeah. Okay. And then my level from the daily. I probably should adjust this too. I think I did that in the morning, something like that. Yeah. So right away, okay, so we walked down from the daily, now we're at the hourly, we're headed into the open, and we're pushing up, we're getting extended into resistance. So the other thing I notice is when I look to the left over here, we have this level. So unless it clears this area, I'm going to be short bias for the open, and my trading plan for the open was to get short and then consider flipping long if we broke. But again, since I'm thinking range bound and we're extended into resistance for the open, my first trade should be short, and then I'd be looking to get long down near support. And that's the direction I want to be. The major trend is up, so I want to be long, but for the open, it's short. And then let me just look on the 15 minute and see if I see anything different. Nah, it's the same. So that's where I came up with the plan. And also, just so you know, I'm sure you do know this, but I I usually reverse engineer my stop according to my entry and my target. So if I'm getting short around 662 and a half, and I'm targeting somewhere down near 660 and a half, we'll call it. That's 2 points. So roughly 65 cents is 3 to 1. So you take 65 cents, you add this, that means 663 and a half, which is more room than I need, really. Um, Probably right here is what I need. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. Like 65 cents is plenty. What I do is I always check when I do the reverse engineering, I always check that level on the chart to make sure it makes sense, and it does, because it would break the downtrend line. We'd be pushing through the next horizontal resistance level. So yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's my entry. This is my stop. This is my target down here, and then definitely ready to flip long. If we cracked, if we broke and held, I'd probably flip long. If we pull into this area and I see support, then definitely want to be long. And then later in the afternoon, what happened was we came back up and we were testing this horizontal level. We broke the downtrend line, both of them, and we broke and pulled. So going into the close, I decided to do a tight risk along there and just keep my risk really tight under swing lows right here. So hopefully that makes sense. Now I'll just go through the execution chart just to confirm all that. Um, let's see. We want SPY. Okay. So just to walk through this. So in the pre-market, I just walked through all that with you. I'm thinking for the open, I want to be short. Um, I took a starter, which is a very small order, just to put it on my blotter so I don't forget about it. Because once the open comes, it gets really busy, and I can easily forget about that I even looked at the SPY. So take a small starter, and then I just leave a stop over horizontal resistance, just as an alert. So no big deal. But when that happened, it was right on the open. When I looked at the chart, it had already wicked down. It was wicking right here. And immediately, and I saw this was extended here. So immediately I'm thinking, there's plenty of room to that stop that I told you about. I'm thinking I feel fine getting full size short. Now I'm sized for the my original reverse engineering, but then as soon as I see it move down, I put my stop here. You know, a couple minutes after that. So I wasn't, even though I was sized full size, I was not going to lose 1R on the short. But that's my thinking. So we pull really hard. I do nothing. I didn't have an order out, to cover anything like that. I'm busy with other trades, and then I see it coming back the next time I look at it, and then I immediately decide like I'm gonna do an ad because there's no reason not to because of this hard pull here. Um, Before it even pulls back, I expected the pullback. I mean, anything that pulls that hard, I'm expecting a pullback. So I'm like, before it gets there, I decide I'm going to leave an order here. I think I use 0.15R, and then I am going to just keep this stop here. But then once my order got filled and it started turning, then I leave my add stop. It's a separate stop right over it. So, you know, just risking tiny amount, a very small amount, but I increase my size significantly. Then it starts to getting slow after 10 o'clock, starts chopping, and then I decide to just put a small fantasy exit here just because I want to know that it's down near these lows. So it's really just an alert. And then right after that, it starts moving down, and then I decide, since we're getting closer to 11 o'clock, to just, and because I did this tight risk ad, I decide just to take a half, just because, I don't know, I just did. So I took half off, and at that point I was um, 3 to 1, mainly because this tight risk ad. And then we get down to 11, and I'm thinking, it's really slowing down. Again, I wanted to be long, not short, so I decided to take a little bit more off. And then before 11:30, I just made the decision that I'm going to go ahead and do a tight risk long on that horizontal level because mostly because of time of day. If this happened earlier in the morning, um, I would have given it more room. Maybe to go down to the uptrend line. So I'm using tight risk because there's another level down below, and it's getting late in the day. Like I usually cut myself off at 12 p.m. So I decide just to use a quarter R and get real tight. So I think I used 25 cents and a quarter R. Yeah, quarter R, and then it moves right away. So initially I have my stop down here, and then soon after I just pull it right under this low. So I mean basically risking almost nothing. But quarter hour might not sound like a lot, but you know because of that tight risk, and we're at 3 to 1 here. Like I'm already at 0.75R here, and then up here, I'm well into over an R on a very small risk. So I'm happy with that. And then we get to 12, and I'm headed out to lunch. So I decide just to leave. I left an OCO order actually. I think a little below 3 to 1, and then one over here. So I just decide to get out, because I'm not going to be here back at HR. In the afternoon, the last trade, again, I was thinking back to the morning that I want to be long bias, and we're tapping on this horizontal level several times, and then I see this uptrend line here. So 3 o'clock is like another cutoff for me, and I decide I just want to get long into the close with another tight risk trade. I put my stop right under the uptrend line, and I get long at 3 o'clock, and I think I was only risking 25 cents on this trade, but I used 50.50R only because I was up nicely and I didn't care if I gave it half an hour back, and I felt pretty confident that we probably would at least take out highs. I didn't know it would go up here, but I put a fantasy exit here to just alert me that we're breaking highs, and then before the close, I had an order up here actually, and then I saw it coming down. So we're getting close to the close, and I just decided to take half. And then I left fantasy exit for 3/4 and then out by the close. And that was it. So hopefully I explained myself well. If you have any questions, let me know. But that gives you an idea on my thought process and how I originally sized, and then how I was managing the trade, in the moment. Looking at the 2 to 1. I never forget about the higher time frame. The higher time frame drives all my trades, but you never know how the lower time frame is going to unfold. So I'm just managing it. I don't watch the chart go up and down. I am scrolling through lots of charts. I only spend a few seconds on each. I do that constantly through the day. I don't like watching price move. I like seeing it like this, like it's standing still, and I can make rational decisions before price gets there. That's what I like to do. Um, and that's it. So if you have any questions, let me know. All right, thanks.